watching the clock, 10,000 hours go by. I keep putting in work, the tears are filling my eyes. I swear I've never been tested like this, but this is mine. It's not a matter of chance, just a matter of time. Never look back. If something standing in my way, I always push back. If something seemed impossible, I never took that. Nah, cause now I know better. Can't stop, won't stop, I won't quit ever. This world is won't take me. The highest fall, it won't break me. The blood and sweat is what made me. I'ma get mine, just a matter of time.
Welcome back, guys, to the LCK. Here we are once again. This is going to be the last time we're going to be having this post-match segment as we hold on to a Game 6 of the night. And Dangon and Bitol is back, and it means I am back to help you guys with the translations. And here we are just looking at very close matchups all throughout the day, and basically just one set, one after another, is becoming a lot more important as to who the better team is going to be out of the two out of the day. And we're getting a look at, obviously, with Kindred, obviously with the ultimate doing so well, just going with Trick this time around, doing so well for BBQ. Let's look at some of the highlights here and see what we can get out of this information here. And with Kindred, basically from level 5, we saw the initiate coming in from MVP, but as soon as the last Raptor was taken, you see that 100 gold being taken and the level up indicator for Trick. So basically the ultimate for Kindred is now available then. So literally, as Tempt is just about to die out, all the Sejuani coming in, basically the ultimate right on the edge there of the tower, and basically it just didn't allow MVP to stay in there forever, taking all that turret shots, and meant that Max was actually going to go down in the end. Just it was so crucial as to the timing where Kindred did get that level 6. Just imagining if it was level 5 at that time, basically would have been a dead Tempt very easily on that occasion. So actually getting a kill back on the other end after such an aggressive entrance from MVP gave such a big advantage over to the mid laner Tempt for BBQ, and that became a situation where MVP had such a high hill that they had to overcome, which they couldn't do in the end. Just want to show you that the early game struggles that came through MVP on that occasion has served them against their own end for most of that game after that one. And we also saw in that last team fight near the end where Trick also had something to show up here with obviously with Gnar coming in from the teleport with a full rage, well managed there. And this was right here. We actually saw Trick being targeted by the Sejuani ultimate and trying to be knocked away first, but obviously Lamb's reply, the ultimate was there, so meaning that everybody was there just trying to wait out, and even Gnar did so well to manage the ultimate in time to turn into Mega Gnar and try to just finish off the rest of the members of BBQ, but it seemed a little bit too late of an entrance, as basically when the time that Gnar already went in, Lamb Sprite did his own part to heal back up the members of BBQ, and basically most of the members of MVP had already gone out to a weaker position after having used most of the key skills out there. So now on cooldown, even that great entrance for the Mega Gnar didn't do justice for MVP, which meant that BBQ was going to win out that fight regardless, already having a large enough of a lead in that aspect. It really was an objective fight all the way through the end, really about dragons and a lot of the really important things where obviously with the Cho'Gath holding up the team of BBQ so well throughout that game. And we thought that Trick, coming up with an entrance, having having not played for a long time, he has done so well in Game 2 to get the win here. And really, obviously, Trick has basically had the best game of the season, as has been written by one of the fans here, and also got to see some of basically all the people are saying that they're enjoying the 5 games so far, and the 6th game is going to be underway very soon, but we're going to hear from Bito to see what he has for the one-line summary. And this is something that's going to be really important here. 2-set Trick is the best Trick, is what's going to be written here. So incredible rhyming from Bito, and then them closing it out here. And I'm going to close it out too. This is my last one here, and I'm going to send it back to you guys for the last game for you guys as well.
Thank you very much, Joel. Don't worry, you haven't heard the last of Joel. He's in fact going to come back for the MVP interview. But speaking of MVP, it's going to go to Trick. Kindred was good, 1, 2, and 12. It's a modest scoreline, but damn, the Lamb's respites were so well done.
His pathing in general, he showed when he needed to, like you say. We've seen so many Lamb's respites just miss the allies this time. Positioning was good, pathing was good. This is what you want to see from a jungle performance. Job done by Trick.
Very well played. See, this is the one. Dives in just the edge of the circle, keeps his Swain alive. And this was the one that honestly won them the game. This paired up with Crazy, Righteous Glory in. Everyone's in the sky, and then they're dead.
Look, MVP certainly opted into maximum value from the ultimate, but the timings were great. The situations they were able to put together, and Ghost also finally having a breakthrough performance on the Vladimir on, I believe, 7th time of asking. Much better this time around. By the time the coordination was there for MVP, didn't matter, too late. Into the picture as ADD's Meganar didn't actually turn the fight like it could have earlier in the game. Congratulations, BBQ. And we are closer and closer to BBQ making their breakthrough series victory. They definitely have had the balance of play over 2 matches. Now a single best of 1. This is probably their best opportunity yet because their opposition isn't looking great and they are playing above their previous level.
They are. And MVP now to move over to the blue side once again. They found the victory on it last time around. However, it was a lot more difficult than the victory result would give away. So let's do it. Moving into Champion Select. What will the changes be? Will BBQ once again leave open the Nocturne, or will it be the Zoe taken away as higher priority against Ian?
You would imagine BBQ will this time go for the stock standard red side bans. So far, we don't know. That was the Nocturne ban not coming in 3rd. That surprised us. If you guys want a refresher to game number 1, Shen, Swain, and the Kled were the blue side bans. And
now,
this time, the Kindred's gone, so MVP has the latitude of blue side. You can be a bit more reactive.
And now, the Trundle Sejuani is so much more likely as well. Zoe going to be the 2nd ban, so we're getting either Talia or Nocturne left open this game.
Do wonder if you have to ban Talia against
Yeah, I was
MVP.
thinking about that.
That seems like the one you might be able to leave open. And now MVP, because it's at the 2nd ban, you're saying, don't know what we want to first pick. They're actually going to blue side ban Nocturne. I guess maybe Yondu not feeling confident after having not the best performance in game number 1. Got through only because of some of the later machinations of the game and BBQ being unable to close. I guess he wants to first pick Sejuani.
I guess also they didn't want to trade Nocturne or Talia. So wanting to get either one of them, but that would allude to them wanting to play the Talia if BBQ don't ban it.
I think BBQ
to be taken away.
I think BBQ thinks that MVP is going to look over Talia. That's my read on this draft, because when you see the Nocturne ban, it does heavily suggest that Talia is lower priority for MVP.
Yeah.
They're going to hover Tryndamere, because it's funny. I've actually never seen it hovered in AR.
Neither, but the Talia was left up. So now is the option and is locked away by the Yondu, Ian, Max, Pilot, or I guess ADD if he wants to play it top. Haven't seen that one before, but definitely could go into a whole lot of different positions now. BBQ try and work out which one. Does mean Swain left available once again. That was the trade that they were able to get out of it. Rakan available as well. Trick with a lot of hovers to get through first, but we'll see where he does land.
Rakan priority been a lot lower, as the final strategy has not been enacted in the LCK yet. They're hovering the Poppy, an old standby of ADD, but it does seem very likely that Rakan will come out.
Yeah, And now the mind games happen. Are BBQ aiming for that Xayah as well? And do MVP put enough priority on picking it away and giving it over to Pilot in the AD carry position?
Wonder if MVP want to return to something like the Galio in this game. Would be unlikely to do that in the first round because you would like to flex the Talia for a longer amount of time. They seem to wait a long time and they just go for the old support counter of Leona being able to follow and keep the Rakan honest.
We can confirm it's not support Talia.
That's true.
That's what we figured out in this particular
in this meta, we take every piece of information, we ink it, and we make sure to remember.
That's actually not true. Leona jungle
Don't start.
doesn't have a lot of clear, but it's
no.
the ganks are amazing. Okay, never mind. The bottom lane looking to be locked in here is Varus and Leona very strong, but in the end, it will be Darius.
So they take Darius here because they don't have a strategy to answer Mundo and then double ban of Darius Cannon. So they just take Darius to power pick. Tempt showing off an old Tempt pick in the Azir. And a hover that one.
A pick that he looked really good on, but couldn't really win on.
No, he individually was pulling off amazing Azir sec plays.
Yeah,
and
then losing the game.
Kept losing. Are we going to lock in the Azir? It's looking increasingly likely, but no.
Nope. They're trolling us with hovers so much. In our 6th game of the evening, Sejuani to be locked away. Pretty understandable pick there, and now we can ban away the Trundle. Oh yeah, there we go.
I'd actually take it because we haven't seen the Trundle versus Sejuani in so long. I'm starting to miss it. I guess I have battered wife syndrome or something.
Yeah,
here.
I'm
like, I love it. It's really cool. Yeah.
Stockholm syndrome. You're like, oh no, my captor, please come back.
Well, Yondu, the problem is if you ban out Yondu, you and I both know he's just like Clearlove. Eventually the Rek'Sai is coming out. So
I thought you were going to talk about Trick just like Clearlove because eventually the Evelyn comes out.
No, I mean that's the one you're excited about. With Yondu, it's definitely the Rek'Sai for now you have a Rek'Sai.
Yeah, you do.
Look at Rek'Sai.
Look at my Rek'Sai. Well, Varus is going to be banned, and that means the Xayah was not locked in, as the Sejuani was given higher priority. Both of the arrow-using shooty guys on the bottom side of the map have been taken off the board. And there's actually a lot of marksmen that have been banned. Surprisingly enough, Pilot might have to step out of his comfort zone.
Screw it, Vladimir
what's he
is
gonna
still
go
available, right?
with?
The Vladimir still exists here, and it could be Swain bot lane as well.
Yeah, true. Xayah, Kled are going to be the bans. A lot of priority given over to the Kled here from MVP.
Looking for a mid laner, I imagine, pretty soon for BBQ. They still want to, they would prefer to know what good old Talia was up to because Syndra is a possibility here for Tempt. Into the mid lane, Talia. Are we going to see ye old counter pick? We are.
We are.
The Dade by Crazy. I don't know if Crazy should be doing that, but he will.
Pretty sure Crazy did it against Soan and got incredibly punished. But what am I to know? Pilot going to go to his second most played before this match. Looking at the Lucian, would be a pick away from Tempt as well, theoretically, given his want to play it in the mid lane.
Tempt will be taking the Syndra if this is the result. That's an old pick for him. Yeah, just Lucian is a power pick. Haven't seen any Lucian in Korea. Saw it in Dalian as sadly Prey was just assassinated by a Kled again and again.
Not great. Yeah, so far on 8-13, it's been a bit absent from the bottom lane.
Where are we going, Talia? We're going to the jungle.
Looks like Yondu is going to be picking it up, and that would be a lot of power given over to MVP. And I like Weaver's Wall into Heroic Entrance, Papa. It's sort of similar. It's like a poor man's paranoia, but you don't have to target someone with it.
Leona's Zenith Blade is probably going to have to hit if they're going to have someone to actually combo the Hero's Entrance with. No one else really going in particularly deep. I guess Darius, but
I mean, he
very
just
easily
wanders
kited
in, doesn't he?
BBQ, you got the full information. The Syndra doesn't look as attractive now because it's a mid lane Galio. How about a Talon?
That sounds worse.
We're Roman, boys.
Well, you'd hope to get the hell out of the Galio lane because this is one of those Talon picks that we saw Rogue Warriors screw up epically. If we remember back to Rift Rivals, Galio into Talon not necessarily working out.
Talon is a very painful lane for Galio because he doesn't have the ability to just one clear with Q anymore, so it does hurt. Trying to make this lane work. He will probably have to consider the cleanse. We might not actually see Smite on this Talon. This might just be straight up Talon. Old school style on the side of BBQ, which to some degree does negate a lot of its value. The double smite helps in closing games with the Baron secure as well. But you see a Leona and a Galio, and you just don't seem to have the latitude to go for the cleanse.
Yeah, it's a dangerous pickup, but BBQ wanting to give themselves some extra power in the early game do have a nice mix of damage here as well, given the fact that it's Swain Rakan on the bottom side of the map. There's a lot of engaged potential and lockdown CC on the bottom side. Could be fiery if a lot of these skill shots are going to land. I'm excited to see whether BBQ can find their first victory on the season. MVP honestly felt like they were losing in both of the games.
Definitely.
Just they happened to win one of them somehow. BBQ sort of giving it over to them, but you only get free chicken once when you turn up to a BBQ game. See whether they are going to continue handing it out in some special occasion in Game 3, or whether this time MVP will have to win this one honestly.
And it might be off the back of ADD. Recently been having down performances, but he got himself a Mundo matchup. Galio and Talia happy to help him out. Could be a lot of leads topside, but they can't leave the Leona out to dry. That'd be bad for MVP.
It certainly would, unless they can get some sort of lead early on. Yondu as well, opting into the Talia. Not necessarily what we're expecting. Let's get into Game 3 or 6 of the night.
환영합니다. 미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
Right. Fans are ready. Soli Stadium is ready to see whether BBQ can find their first win for Summer 2018. You can see the fans, they are well and truly ready. Whether they're actually going to get it is something that we're not going to find out. What Yondu hasn't got is the first strike of his threaded volley. Hasn't really found that one just yet.
And
Talia still jungles like a monster.
And we have also been denied the sweet, sweet sustenance of the chicken dance.
Oh no!
Ian hasn't done it. 2 games in a row.
That's probably why they lost.
I mean, they actually won that game.
Oh yeah, damn.
It felt like they lost, but they got the victory.
Yeah, it's like, why are we even in Game 3? Is MVP going for like the 3-0 victory? Oh wait, hang on. Sorry, BBQ going for the 3-0 victory? Unfortunately, no.
I feel there should be a hidden passive where if you hit someone with the Galio Q on BBQ's side, they get 1 extra health. Because they are having fried chicken thrown at them.
Yeah, exactly.
Hidden passes were removed a long time ago. The ninja's passive, where the more ninjas you had, you lost 1 HP on each ninja. That was removed.
Yep. Leona also had one. Did 1 less damage to champions with glasses.
Commando skins, yes.
Yep. Was a cute one.
But they already have enough things to bounce around, that little silly interactions like that could actually change a skirmish where...
If that causes a chrono break,
Yeah.
you know you're going to be pissed off, you know?
That's true.
That means someone has to do some hell of a, like, calculation with their, like, damage recap.
Well, you didn't calculate when to talk about that point, because it was as Talia was on the screen. The chief among the chrono break problems.
Oh, no. Hey, at least Trundle isn't there. We're not getting stuck in just a little tiny pillar that can happen before level 6. At least when Talia does it, you got something to talk about.
Well, I hope we have a lot to talk about. We're here for our 6th game of the night. We've had a lot of weird and wonderful stuff, as Thames gets a lot to think about with a nice trade here for Ian. Didn't think that was possible at level 2, but I guess going for E second meant that he got the back end of the E trade.
Thankfully for Tempt, he did manage to at least land the rake. We didn't see that, Ian. Missing the cannon creep.
Confirmation, there's no smite on Tempt, so just going for Talon as a power pick.
See whether he can get the roams. Also see whether this bottom lane works out for MVP. It's been a while since we've seen the Leona.
Theory is that Rakan, very annoying with the battle dance, can position so aggressively, and we know how much punishment the battle dance, the grand entrance and the quickness can do as an initiation duo, but so slippery on the disengage. If the Zenith Blade hits, you're following the Rakan wherever he goes. So, sort of pick where you can make the Rakan accountable. Doesn't work so well against the Swain, because especially after level 8, oh sorry, 8 minutes into the game, and also a couple of items, we know he's going to turn on the ultimate and just chill during the Leona engage. But when it comes to specifically the Rakan, a good interaction for MVP.
Also, the Sunlight procs are pretty capitalized on well by the Lucian.
True.
As spells are weaved quite effectively. Yondu, he's already down here. Zenith Blade is going to land. The double boot back with the seismic shove. They're just going to get a flash out of Ghost and call it a day. Ghost will be able to teleport back in. That's Ignite down for Max as the only investment.
Will he lose a minion for it after all the changes? I guess the back timing is still pretty substantial. He will come through.
Maybe if he had have died, it would have been less
That's
time.
funny, actually, that he would have missed less minions that way. To be fair, he's only going to miss, I believe, just one ranged minion. Incidentally died, so no big deal. ADD, granted, just the best matchup ever into the Mundo. But no help, and Crazy can at least feel confident he won't be turret dive because the Taliyah already revealed herself on the bottom side.
Yeah. He's now going to be mowing through this jungle very, very quickly. You can see exactly, like, Yondu is certainly a jungler that does like to harvest the jungle a whole lot and is now on the Taliyah, so maybe he'll be ganking a whole lot more because you can see he's only got a Krug camp. No one really wants to go down there.
Helps out with some control vision on the bottom side here. If you have a Leona who's level 6 and a Galio who's level 6 with river control on the bottom side, that's a lot of threat to deal with as a no summoner Swain.
See, ADD on the top side is still already looking so frustrated that he has to back away from the Mundo. What does show the fact that Leona is being a bit of a river Leona at the moment. Hanging around with the Taliyah, looking for an early Drake potentially. But at the moment, just happy feeding here on the bottom side. It's an empty jungle for both of these junglers apart from the Raptor camp that is now currently being taken by Trick.
Party in the mid lane, it seems, as level 6 is hit by Ian.
Yep. Battle Dance gets Ignite to safety, but good never move lands onto Max. As he jumps back in. Eclipse going to help him just stay alive.
It's cleanse on Ignar, just to keep track of that summon and no Ignite.
Well, immediately this control ward is going to be taken down, and BBQ have to respect the level 6 from Ian, meaning that a dive is much more possible.
Clean setup by MVP. 2 control wards. They are popping over here. Didn't take a rocket scientist to know what MVP was threatening, but still, always appreciate it when the setup is clean.
Yep. And also, respecting Tempt's ability to roam, get all of this vision priority on the bottom side. ADD, of course, is going to be fine, even though he's not able to necessarily dominate this matchup at the moment, given the fact that he's left on his own. He will certainly not get solo killed by a Mundo or anything like that. As look at these guys, just best friends. Ian and Yondu hanging around in the jungle, clearing out vision.
Not much value on that control ward. BBQ just desperately want Crazy to hold on till 8 minutes so he can stopwatch any attempt at a Goomba Stomp from Ian. No big CS lead. After this minion wave is cleared out, we're talking about just about 1 minion wave's advantage, maybe even less.
Yeah.
For the Darius, but it's been an isolated top lane, which does suit MVP. And even in games where we've seen the Darius unable to get kills in the early game, we've still seen some turnaround, massive burst kills in the late game come through. So no big deal here for ADD.
Feels like when things are even, and ADD does manage to get the Executioner's Calling as well as his Kindle Gem, just to make sure that he's got some tankiness, and the CDR is fantastic for the Darius as well. Yeah, they just tend to win.
True. The Kindle Gem doesn't necessarily mean...
It's also a bit confusing because normally it's the Trinity Force rush, but this looks a little bit ominously like that of a Black Cleaver.
We've actually seen recently just Kindle Gem for CDR and a bit of extra health, Kindle Gem Phage into just Trinity Force, so
yeah,
not actually pigeonholing yourself into Black Cleaver, that, like you say, is obviously shown.
It's my current Garen build, actually. Just
go.
throw in a Kindle Gem.
Been enjoying your Garen, huh?
I have.
Well, I'm going to enjoy this turret dive.
Yeah, we got a Hero's Entrance to come down from Ian as well. Look at the damage. So easily picked up. Yondu certainly is making this Taliyah look as busted as the bands would represent.
Don't need a Dunk Master Darius to dunk the enemy. Nicely done by MVP. Nothing Ghost could do. I believe just before stopwatches were enabled, as we're now cresting 8 minutes and 15 seconds. No counterplay to that one. Trick and Tempt, they're not even going to be able to keep this turret up.
Yeah, and they're wasting time by
Or
being here.
are
The flash
they?
comes in from Trick. Shadow Assault comes down, but there's the stopwatch from Max. He's still probably going to die, but no! The culling comes out from Pilot to keep them alive. So much invested, but nothing gained. But thankfully, turret doesn't fall.
They do keep up the turret so close. Let's watch the replay. Unfortunately, we don't have the timer to know where this is in relation to 8 minutes. But could you be any cleaner? Beautifully done by Max, Yondu, and Ian. couldn't do any better. They get most of the turret health. They don't kill it. See if they can return to that. Speaking of killing, Crazy, starting to smart after some of these decimate traits.
Yeah, Grievous Wounds as well as having the passive stacked up so easily with the Cripple as well as the Apprehends and the Decimates. It's just getting a little bit dicey for Crazy.
I admit, I'm not a big fan of the no smite Talon. Now you might say, oh, well, if he had smite and got CC'd, you wouldn't be a fan of the Talon pick then. And I take your point, but at least if you go smite, you have the mana sustain of going for the warrior enchant and being able to, just pick up incidental mana, skipping out of the lane. And also, Taliyah ain't got much health, so you have the ability to either steal a Raptor camp or steal the life of the enemy Taliyah. Instead, he's farming and watching as he's being out-rotated by Galio. Not many champions who can out-rotate a Talon, but Galio is certainly one of them. Right now, not really convinced by the power pick Talon on the side of BBQ.
And like you can be contesting these Rift Scuttlers as well. So much of the jungle, Yondu is just going to be mowing through, so he'd be happy feeding so much more if you're also taking away his resources at the same time. I do understand your point. I feel like Smite Talon's the reason why he's good. Completely agree. We'll see whether we discover exactly why Tempt needed to go with the cleanse. Could be the big outplay on the horizon, but right now he's just losing by a bit of farm. Not able to get out of his lane as Ian's just shoving waves towards his turret over and over again.
I just look at the cleanse and say, by the time the cleanse is useful, will the game be over?
Well, judging by that last dive, certainly looking like MVP want it to be. They've been way more proactive this game than they have in any of the others so far today, as there's the engaged bottom side, but it's onto Max. He just wants to be eating damage, and Yondu turns up. He was already here. He wanted the turret. They are just going to get everyone away. BBQ, no follow-up. First turret blood, 3,000 gold. And they're dominating BBQ in Game 3.
Oh, engaged by BBQ, but happily lapped up. Just culls them to death. Second time. Since Ghost go down this time, certainly after 8 minutes. Find the ability to press the stopwatch button. The CC undid him. Back away. All BBQ can do is try to counter him topside and stop ADD just running over this lane.
And ADD already backing away, not giving anyone anything. It's been really reserved play from this Darius. Holding on to the matchup that you do want to just destroy, but he's just not giving anything to BBQ. No opportunities for counter ganks or anything like that. And they're just ripping their way through the bottom lane. Like you said, was going to be a necessity here for the MVP comp.
Some smelly CS numbers on the bot side. Ghost at 68 CS in a duo lane. 11 minutes, 50 in. We already had the Zillion. At least the Zillion, you're like, okay, pray, all right, Zillion. But is getting pummeled this time by Pilot.
And Swain also, he lanes pretty well.
Yeah.
He just doesn't really have much of an excuse there. He's getting out CS'd by the jungle Taliyah, who's been mainly killing people. 2-0-1, 100% kill contribution so far in this game. Rod of Ages completed here for Ian. Pick himself up a blue buff very happily. Not quite with the Blade of the Ruin King for Pilot just yet, but that's going to give him loads of value against Crazy. In fact, get extra value because you've got Light Slinger. Feels damn good. And there's the Phage. We'll see whether ADD is going to just sit on that Kindle Gem, whether it is going to be the Sheen coming in next.
Very nice map rotation made by the side of MVP. They put Darius bot lane because the objective they want is the Rift Herald. Now they outnumber with a duo in mid and the Galio top side. So they will be in a great spot to take away this objective. And, we haven't seen them play from ahead, but MVP, now after winning the early game, look a hell of a lot cleaner. Maybe win lane, win game against MVP might be encouraged for some of the teams in the bottom half.
Yeah, I'd probably take a look at how this series has worked, and yes, they managed to stave off BBQ in Game 1, but that was honestly gifted to them. Game number 2, it was BBQ just making them look like fools.
Hey, look who's learning.
Oh, wait, we didn't ult beforehand?
And we didn't do it in Vision either.
That's crazy! Wow, Yondu, so much improvement, and they are going to bring it out into another fight as well in the mid lane. Shelly joins in, smacks down the turret. The culling used one more time. A flash, a lot of respect because the slow came in from the cleaver. But there's another one. Oh, Tempt gets a lot of value out of the Assassin's Path as he gets into the Bramble Pit. That outer turret in the mid lane was just taken down. I was going to say not long for the world, but it was already dead. Tempt has to go to the top side just to look for some farm that he's allowed to take.
Primary objective taken down. Nicely done by the side of MVP. Remember, it's so early. We're at 14 minutes into the game. I looked at the wards and I'm like, they got some great Baron. Oh, it's 14
I was about to say,
minutes in.
you're crazy. It's 11 p.m., Papa Smithy. It's not early at all.
Well, you know, we are definitely earning our bacon today and yesterday. 6 games into 6 games.
Yeah, I was a bit jealous of Achilleos having 6 games last night. I needed to ask MVP and BBQ to give me more. Yondu almost counter-jungled himself. We'll go back. We'll see what he picks up next after the Runic Echoes. Interesting build choices to come in from a lot of our players here. I'm interested to see whether ADD does decide that he wants to pick up the Trinity Force after all.
I think it's the right way to go. I've become a convert. Early in the season, you're just like, okay, they have tanks. Why are you not building Black Cleaver? But understanding it's all about the tank is someone to stack up your passive on, and then it's just ult auto,
Yeah.
burst onto other members. So it's not so much about shredding the tank, it's picking up your reset potential from the tank in a different way.
Well, have to see what he does decide to go with. MVP now. Pretty textbook, moving towards the top side. The last remaining outer turret going to be next under siege. Ignite is here. And heroic entrance range for Ian if the gargoyle is needed.
This is cute. Very nice stuff. A lot of control wards down. They're going through all the vision before they make a play. This is textbook stuff from MVP that, again, couldn't do in the first 2 games because the 2 Kindreds really did a number on the side of MVP.
Yeah, Trick especially looked so good on the Kindred. It was a genius ban. Come in second for MVP just to deny that power pick. Obviously, the Trick has mastered so far when she's been in and out of meta over the years. But 4,000 gold, approximately, closer to 3. But Pilot is going to push it towards that 4 mark. You can see total damage. Tempt, done a heck of a lot. But not as much as that of the Lucian. The rest of the team of MVP all really carrying themselves forward. And this wave not even going to be frozen or anything like that by BBQ.
Need to get something out of the Talon Atlas. We've mentioned it a couple of times. We wondered what it would do. The answer is not much so far.
Is this the Charlie Bound treatment once again? And this time he doesn't even have a smite.
Well, right now,
I guess he can always kill Pilot, can't he?
It seems likely. There's no stopwatch on Pilot. Well, Leona also is tanky, but could potentially be taken down. There's a lot of chase potential on Talon, even after his first rotation.
Can you Assassin's Path over a Weave as well?
Yes.
That's cool. Never seen that reaction before.
You can Assassin's Path over a Trundle Pillar.
Can you?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I did know about that. Damn it. Okay. Well, obviously, you could do it over a Weaver's Wall.
It's late, Atlas.
It
Some
is.
of life's
It
greatest questions have been pondered after 11 p.m.
That's true. All the shower thoughts are coming out, except some of mine are just really silly. Max just looking to clear out vision here on the bottom side. 10 seconds until that Cloud Drake is up, and MVP wanting to grab that one. It's another game where Blue Side has been able to grab these dragons relatively easily, not even with the ability to pop over the walls as easily as that of a Kindred.
As promised, ADD is showing you that the Kindle Gem is to mislead play-by-play casters. It's a specific strategy targeted at Max Atlas Anderson.
It's interesting that it came in before the Phage. Often we see the Phage and the Executioner's calling, but probably just a money situation. And there is the Trinity Force completed.
Perfect game pace for the side of MVP.
Yeah, theoretically.
Only have nice things to say about their first 17 minutes. They've done everything right. They've done it honestly by warding their flanks and investing in control wards.
Two pretty clean dives as well.
The draft was good. BBQ brought some of it on themselves, specifically with the Mundo into Darius and the Cleanse Talon being a bit of a non-factor. Gotta say, we had some really inspired red side second rounds and some not so inspired red side second round drafts.
It's feeling severely hit or miss.
Yes.
And it's there's never very much middle ground. Bring back the Orianas, Papa. Bring back the picks that get picked up and you're like, okay, that's a pick, but it doesn't. That's in the middle, you know?
I was
we don't
watching
have those
LPL
anymore.
and they had a bot lane Oriana. Give me that. I'd
Yeah.
love to talk about bot lane Oriana.
Sounds great. We can talk about Clockwork Wind-Up again. It's been ages.
Felt like I got a Clockwork wind-up today, but it was by Kingzone Dragon X.
I don't know. I got a bit of a Clockwork Wind-Up when it was BBQ managing to lose game 1 as well, Papa. Don't worry.
Well, we need to unwind, Atlas, and maybe that'll be partly from a post-game beverage. But also, I'm unwinding by sitting back and saying, all right, so far MVP have done everything they need to
we're
do.
getting a treat in game number 3. MVP have really made this composition look good. You can look over the side of BBQ and say, yeah, what the heck's the Talon doing? But honestly, doesn't really matter what's in the mid lane with how MVP have been playing around the map, and it's all been about how this bottom lane's been doing. The Leona looks like a stroke of genius when often it can look like a complete waste of time as a pick.
It's helpful when you have double globals to aid in your backup. Wasn't actually the reason that the Leona prospered in this game. It's just good play from Max in the laning phase, but whenever you have people that can pack up and help out Leona when she goes just a little teensy bit too far, it is helpful.
Yeah. I like how MVP have been playing around bot side anyway, and now have unlocked the Moby Boots Leona to get a way around this map.
The what's next, you ask, is the Baron buff. That'd be a nice one to look at.
10 seconds until he is on the map.
Good turn off Baron, good Baron damage because they have a marksman. And then the turn involves Leona, Talia, and Galio, so you know that's going to be pretty prosperous.
Yeah, not bad tanking either, as you know, Max even in a pinch could get in there. We'll see whether we are going to go for an early MVP-style Baron. Whenever it's MVP on the map, that is exactly what they want, and they are positioning around it.
To their credit, they haven't been suiciding to get the 50-50 smite.
Yeah.
This is a team where people would actually call me out and be like, you know, you're so savage about MVP Barons. And I was like, they literally in an interview said that
We like 50-50
We like
Barons.
50-50 Barons, we win them. And to that, of course, I say, how about this macro? Don't you speak it?
And also, you know, this was around the time when MVP wasn't doing a lot of winning. And speaking of winning, they're looking for Pilot, our BBQ. Hero's entrance, though, he was right on the trigger yet again. But at least the Talon's able to get rid of the Talia. Apprehend from ADD. Now it might be his chance to get a fight that they're looking for, but I don't think so. Gets an ult. No, he doesn't. Stopwatch is there from Crazy. And now Max is going to get eaten up. BBQ may have just turned this one around. Unless Pilot can find some autos, but the stopwatches are coming in. Just baiting him left, right, and center. Uses the cleanse, but he's going to die anyway. And BBQ, they get 4 kills, and they might just pick up Baron.
Well, BBQ, they finally got what they were looking for. MVP activated their tempt card. Talon turns on, gets a couple of kills. 2-0-2. They're not quite strong enough to take a Baron just yet, Atlas, but suddenly this game got spicy.
And I think Ian was actually killing someone, but here's the replay, guys.
Now, BBQ miss all their stuff, and you think, okay, this is going to be a bad one. Instead, Talon just goes and instant kills Talia, such as Talon. And from there, they're able to clean up because ADD's out of position. That Talia wasn't even able to use the Weaver's Wall in this fight. Closest target, easy access for BBQ. And suddenly, this game got a hell of a lot more interesting.
Yeah, Ian got nothing done in that fight whatsoever. He's been a hero for MVP in many games so far, but Pilot also having a rough time. 2-0-2 now for the Talon could be a huge deal. We all know what happens there. Is we're going to come back to ADD dying on the bottom side of the map. Tempt turns up, helps to get another one. He says that my dots are better than yours.
With the map opened up a little bit, with BBQ able to be on the front foot after getting some kills, now Talon can do things. Talon has his Mobies, Talon is around the map, backing up, bit of a piggyback on the Mundo. We're going to watch this replay. This is ADD face-checking Talon.
Yep, and he took about a bajillion damage, I think is the technical term. Answered back with a bit. You know, hats off to your ADD. However, you're still dead. And the Talon still walked away.
Oh, some very nice damage numbers there. His cleanse is on cooldown, so that's going to be one they could try to return to shortly. We saw Ian fighting someone before we went to the replay, but I assume it didn't lead to any grave consequences.
How many times had Ghost died?
I don't
Pretty sure the scoreline
Twice.
Yeah, he had died twice. Okay. Therefore, nothing actually came of it. May have got a flash, potentially. As Max going to get hit by a Vision of Empire along with the Baron. Could be okay, though.
What next, we wonder, about game number 3 of our second series, 6th game of the night. We bad-mouthed Tempt so many times for the Talon pick, saying, what you gonna do?
Hey,
well,
yeah.
Answer is only everything so far in this game. 2-0-3.
Murdering Yondu. This time around, it's not like the UCAL situation, because he does have targets. I mentioned the Lucian, but Yondu's always going to be an option there as well, and you can see he's got a stopwatch building towards his Zhonya's, as that could be a pick for for MVP, and it is. Crazy goes down. He's not the big tanky Mundo that he wants to be yet, and there is not a shred of magic resist, bar his boots, in his back pocket either, as MVP set themselves up for this Dragon. As Dragon number 3 comes in very easily, handed on a silver platter.
And honestly, both teams have pretty wantonly been disrespecting Vision, just like we saw BBQ. Surprising, with Temp jumping over the wall on the top side. Mundo thinks that he's late game. Mundo wasn't quite, was actually fallible for once on the bot side. They're a Drake of the game. All of them pretty low rolls. They're obviously not ecstatic. There's been no Mountains or Infernals yet, but maybe in service of a big Elder Dragon. This one could definitely go late, Atlas. Felt like we were going to get the 28-minute rollover by BBQ,
Yeah.
but they're certainly way back into this one.
2,000 gold, the lead for MVP. That last fight, though, did mean that I feel like if BBQ can set themselves up for that once again and Yondu does 0 damage in a fight, feels like a way better situation. Ian going to allow Yondu to grab himself the blue buff this time. And thankfully for the Talia, the Zhonya's has been completed. So maybe the assassination doesn't happen instantly next time around.
Will be worth mentioning that he also will be, you know, pretty low on the damage front. The Runic Echo is a lot of ability power and very good value, but the Zhonya's mostly paying for the stasis effect, so Weaver's Wall and the Seismic Shove are going to be what we have to look at closely, not the extended trades with the threaded volley.
Yeah, Yondu's
But-
not going to be bursting people down.
You know, against Talon is probably the right choice. You don't have so many luxury options. He still had his stopwatch, so there could have been a consideration to go elsewhere and return to the Zhonya's later, but went safety first.
Well, if you, yeah, I think so. I feel like having a bit of safety is certainly the better option. You don't do very much damage when you're dead. Threaded volleys will still be at least tickling the members of BBQ. Sonya's is not a terrible item for ability power, and now has the ability to go towards something else. With that Ruby Crystal, looks like Ryle's Crystal Scepter could be the option, so utility certainly the focus.
Morellonomicon very likely as well, so I think maybe
That's true, that's
Morellonomicon
true.
first.
Oblivion Orb could be coming in.
Alright, so Tempt is trying to warp the map, what Talon can do, especially with the cleanse here after the laning phase. First 20 minutes, not much, but now hits a side lane, and everyone's like, would rather not lane against this person.
Yeah,
Consider
please
that
no.
Darius has no armor, apart from a single cloth armor, and Galio, better things to do with his time. He doesn't want to be far away from his teammates, so for now at least, the Talon is warping the game, and that's the sort of thing that can lead to picks on one side or the other.
Yep, also has himself a heck of a lot of lethality. Another Serrated Dirk to come along with the 2 that he's already purchased and then turned into the Dusk Blade as well as the Ghost Blade. Lots of blades. Edge of Night could be coming in next, potentially, for the Talon.
Baron speed, pretty decent from MVP, but not amazing. The Lucian will do plenty of damage, but everyone else is not quite as useful on that particular objective. Galio, one of the lowest damage mid laners for Baron damage.
I feel like BBQ are way better at tanking Baron and MVP are way better at killing Baron. Because, of course,
Both teams
Crazy
in
being there
general.
is a good idea.
Both teams pretty bad at killing Baron, but I take your point. You're definitely true on that one, as both Sejuani and the Mundo can size up the Baron and do a pretty good job of tanking it up for an extended time. There is the Oblivion Orb, this time onto the Galio, so maybe we'll see the Rylai's onto the Talia. Possibility, could just be double.
Another
Morellonomicon as well.
curious blasting wand to come in, confusing everyone. Yeah, Black Cleaver done as well as the Blade of the Ruin King for Pilot, so 2-item spike there. Leo mentioning the Galio, and the fact that the Oblivion Orb came in as the 3rd item means that Ian's been having a pretty good time, 2-0-1 now, even on farm against the Talon.
Warding in this game is pretty lax right now for MVP. Previously, they were rotating around well. They got the first rung of objectives at the same level as any other team in the LCK, even a top team. That's super clean. But since then, since losing a couple of kills, they've lost their way a little bit.
Pilot at a dangerous spot, but Tempt not going to dive in on top of him. Ignar hanging around this Baron pit, just trying to clear out the vision as Trick thinks he may have found a target, but Hero's Entrance keeps Max alive. Eclipse there as well. Teleport coming in as ADD has a decent flank. See whether BBQ can actually jump in on top of him, though, before the rest of his teammates can collapse. Hero's Entrance now off cooldown. Means that MVP do need to respect BBQ, but Max is going in. Shield of Daybreak not going to land. Never Move comes in. Max just protecting himself with his ult as Ignar has to get the hell out, but the support is going to die on MVP's side instead. And BBQ still looking for more. Can they actually find Pilot?
Oh!
The seismic shove under 3 members, and now Ian massive in the front line. Yondu's going to take down the Swain as Ghost hasn't had a great game, but Pilot is still going to fall. Ian locks down the Talon, however, and Trick is just running away. Weaver's Wall is a bit of a confusing one, but Trick's still trying to get out of there. Seismic shove delivers crazy to Yondu, who flashes out of the way, and man, it was messy, but it's all MVP in the end.
A super flashy fight. It was insane how many different things happened. The replay is needed to illustrate all the plays. Ian was able to flash taunt the Talon to death as he jumped over a wall. Assassin's Creed stuff happening right there. They turn onto the Baron. They have pretty hilariously low damage on Baron, but only Ignar is alive. By hook or by crook, MVP want the damn Baron.
Yep, and we've seen a Gleaming Quill steal, so this is a thing that's definitely happened. As in goes Max, he's got a full health bar, offers his ultimate to try and do damage to the Baron, I believe. That was odd. Maybe assuming that Ignar was going to try and come over the wall. Remember, there's a smite in this pit, so it is going to be taken by Yondu. Somehow got down to 74 health, which ain't great news. However, still, MVP get what they want.
So this was actually madness from Max, because remember, ADD was chased out, and there could not be a Darius in the fight yet. They almost burst down Ignar. Max will die, and then you think, okay, is it over? The answer is no. ADD continues to walk up. The apprehend onto 3 is huge, and the moment the shove comes in, you're like, all right, MVP have done it. But that was only part of the story. We continue to go on. Talon is able to assassinate Pilot, but watch Tempt get killed by Taunt in the air from Flash. There were so
He
many.
was impaled on the wall. It was like some Game of Thrones stuff going on.
Wherever you were watching, something cool was happening. Everyone was looking at the explosions that time. We're all blinded. No one learned anything, but we saw a lot of cool stuff.
That was certainly my experience. However, that's most of my experiences, let's be honest. Crazy's flash into Yondu's instant flash showed that Yondu was getting a little bit too frisky with his positioning. Maybe he didn't need to get himself that far forward, but it was definitely good reaction times. And as the dust settles, 5,000 gold in favor of MVP, and that is only going to extend as these structures start to fall. At the moment, it's looking like a trade as Tempt is on the top side. But remember, he does not have a teleport.
And no one's really got any of them wave clear things on the side of BBQ.
Damn wave clear things.
Yes. Their wave clear is not the best, so that's a bit of a problem. Siege not necessarily fantastic by MVP unless they invest the Weaver's Wall.
Oh god, Max is in trouble. Heroic Entrance, though, is going to be the answer. Half the health bar only onto the Leona. Shadow Assault is still available, though, from Tempt.
A lot of Baron buff as well. 1 minute 40 still on the Baron timer.
Yep, MVP are going to break open the base in the mid lane. Okay, Solar Flare comes in, but Ghost is going to be able to avoid that. And the Seismic Shove, and MVP say, well, that's a lot of our buttons that we can't use anymore. Yondu has to be careful. 50% of his health bar now, but Pilot is going to just take up his position and keep harassing out BBQ. Sadism's there for Crazy, but they just let the inhibitor go, given the power of these Baroned up minions.
Marksman with a Galio, so powerful, because Galio's cooldowns by the end. The AoE Taunt, basically a facsimile of his old ultimate is the AoE Taunt. Just means that Lucian can walk up, and Lucian's on a long-range 80 carry. Talked about how there was no Marksman on the comp when we saw Camille Galio earlier from Kingzone. Galio just multiple times in a fight can do that in a siege where he presses W, you get the hell out, and they get an objective. So clean pick up there from MVP. They break the base on the first Baron, of course, something that BBQ will scrutinize on the VOD review of Game 1, where 2 Barons, they couldn't break the base. Push up the top side, and they know they're one team fight away from closing out this series.
And they've picked up so many fantastic items to do so as well. Guardian Angel done for ADD. Got that sitting there to keep himself alive in these fights. You're very close to your Zhonya's coming in for Ian, but he's completed 3 items, Morellonomicon included. Mortal Reminder and a BF Sword was Pilot's back. We were talking about the fact that he had the 2 items he needed. He just went to 3.5 on top of that. Now MVP wanting to utilize this advantage, try and cut down the top side of the map. Ian very far away from Hero's entrance range now that it is off cooldown. Probably not utilizing that super effectively, but Super Creeps heading towards the Nexus turrets. And they know that Tempt isn't there on the top side to assassinate.
Tempt can find a way to instant kill the Lucian. Very possible at this item juncture. There is still a one-team fight here for BBQ. But to create enough disarray for that to happen looks tricky. Doesn't feel like Ghost has been able to impact fights. Sweeper's Wall's down. Only 5-second duration.
No Baron buff remaining either. Nice double seismic shove as Yondu's been impressing me with this Talia. Ian, he's here. He's looking like the statue that his champion represents, as well as he's just standing here in the brush, ready to Hero's entrance his way in. Max also wants to do it. As Ian, he wants that Zenith Blade to land. He wants Max to bait them further forward, but he doesn't actually do so. Hero's entrance basically wasted, and it's a good ult to come down on top of him. Max flashes himself out as Ignar gets a good knock up, and Pilot gets obliterated. They get rid of the entire bottom lane, and now Ian, he's given up on the fight. ADD, he's looking for more. Does have a massive passive in there as Ghost. He could potentially still go down to the passive now. We'll see whether ADD is going to be able to survive any longer as he flashes after. Apprehend doesn't register because he was dead, and BBQ somehow get a good fight.
It's a 4 for 0 for the side of BBQ. What can they do with it? There's no objectives on the map. They're going to be able to stop their Nexus turrets from going down. That was a fight all about patience. We'll show in the replay how patient BBQ was, and Tempt in particular. He got his man. And now, actually, the Rakan's just looking to interrupt and allow Talon one more kill.
Well, Ian is going to get home. So he didn't even really know that the Rakan had been hunting him the whole time.
So watch here. Ian is in position to flash taunt. That's what he's there for. He's considering his options. Doesn't flash taunt, he ults. And the ult there is a mistake. He should be looking for a flash taunt instead. The warning comes up. Tempt has been off the screen the entire time. Poked in and out of vision a couple of times. Waits for his moment, pops in, and that is where they find the Wombo. That was all about the mid laners. Which one was going to be more patient? The answer was Tempt. Big mistake from Ian, and suddenly BBQ get another chance to get back into the game.
And the Hero's entrance is just so important. He really needed to land that one. It was a bit sloppy from Ghost. Didn't end up falling down in the end, but got the Zhonya's active to happen after the ultimate. Of course, always does register, but would have had an extra few seconds for the rest of the team just to kill the Darius before he even gets the animation off. But yeah, BBQ, probably not very many situations where they should have won that fight, as ADD avoids the ult from Trick, who's looking desperate, but is still making plays from behind, which is what you need to do. You need to actively get your way back into a game, not just lose the game less quickly.
They knew ADD's flash was down, and this is 10 seconds until the Elder comes through. This is a super-powered Elder for the side of MVP.
They're going to be jogging pretty fast.
This game is still so close, Atlas. Both teams right down the bottom of the ladder are making the sort of mistakes that 8th versus 10th is very often going to create. Seems like MVP have done the heavy lifting this game, but will it just be the shoe on the other foot for the millionth time tonight? And perhaps all the good early work will mean naught.
Well, at the moment, MVP, they've started off the Elder Drake, but BBQ certainly in position. Teleport from ADD will get him right into this pit. It's a dangerous position, and Ian has set himself up yet again. Weaver's Wall. Yondu rides it for quite some time, and will actually have to flash his way out. That's dangerous as Tempt wants to get his way into this fight. Solar Flare comes down as Crazy is the target. We'll see whether he actually gets locked down as the Talon's destroyed by ADD. It's already the fight that MVP won, and Ghost can't do anything. The double kill to come down, and now MVP just want to win the game. It was a very short teleport, but Ian says, we ain't dealing with no dragon. We're decimating the base.
He knows what he's doing. He's taking up the minions as well. Wants the minions to stay alive so he can take this turret down. 35 seconds on Ghost, 35 on Tempt. This should be it.
Yep, it should be it. Only a couple of tanks here with some ultimates that they can throw down, but yep, apprehensive at best as Trick is just destroyed. The dismantling of the base will now commence as BBQ Olivers, they got closer than we've seen in a very long time this series. However, it wasn't enough against MVP. 6 games tonight, but it's MVP that come out victorious.
They're able to do it. They close it out. The Roosters were so close to being raised, but they will not be. They will stay at half-mast. As unfortunately, BBQ, they were better than before, but not good enough. They will fall down to 0-10 in match score. They only have Jin Air of their fellow strugglers to play.
And Jinez coming off 2 victories in a row.
And suddenly, it's all coming crashing down. The coaching staff comes into the booth. There's Eris and their head coach as well. BBQ Olivers, that's the best we've seen of them so far in the 2018 summer season, but not good enough.
And it's so frustrating that, of course, they're going to come off this game very crestfallen. However, it is improvement. This is a better BBQ than what we saw in games past.
Let's watch this replay and understand the Talon, because Talon makes a smart move of not going for this, because ADD starts to kite down once they had the ward before. Doesn't want to run into a Darius. Temp then eventually jumps in, looks for an assassination, and good job, ADD. Apprehends him to stop the damage from going through. Yondu had the Guardian Angel, so that's why the target was elsewhere. So many good moments from Tempt, but it was gonna have to be teamfight execution or nothing. And sadly for him, without the smite, it was gonna be all about that teamfight, like we're saying, and the last teamfight decided the game.
And if you think about it, if he did have the smite, then that could have just been a time where they wait for the Elder Drake to go down low and then double smite it with the added probability of them being the ones to take it down.
Likely would have been a very different game as well, so I don't think you can just say that about
True.
the last fight. The smite adds the pressure onto the enemy. Talia, the invades, etc., etc. We'll leave that one to one side. BBQ look wistful. They don't look sad, they look frustrated because they know they were close. This is not, we got clapped 2-0, life's so hard. This is, we should have won. Life's feeling really hard. MVP, good early game. They won the early game only 1 out of 3 times, and yet it went 38 minutes. BBQ were close to taking this one down, but MVP a hair ahead when it mattered.
And maybe it's time for Ghost to pull out the ADs. Maybe it's time for Awesome Dudes to take a back seat, because hasn't looked phenomenal. I mean, his Vladimir did get off the ground. He found some moments in some fights, but otherwise hasn't necessarily been picking up steam. And when we talk about Ghost, happily, it often is when he's playing things like the Varus and stuff like that. And look, the Lucian did a hell of a lot of damage. Pilot was pretty stalwart in staying with just marksman, and certainly looked pretty good in that game.
So who picks up the MVP here? I thought Yondu and Max both had great games. And it will be Yondu picking up the MVP. We wondered about the Talia. It seemed like even BBQ said, all right, well, we're not really worried about giving away Talia to your team. The Nocturne, that one required a late game to be able to get going. The Weaver's one, this play, to me, was the play of the series.
It was absolutely beautiful. The coordination showing that MVP actually deserved to win this game, honestly. Felt like in the other games, things were thrown, things were problematic, there were issues in draft, but this game, felt like MVP came in with a plan, they knew how to execute it, and they did so with, one botched team fight towards the later stage of the game that didn't result in them losing too much at all. It was really nicely executed, and this is the MVP that we really liked, the MVP that had champions that synergized well with one another, that were able to get work together, done as a team, because they were the pick comp team, They were the team that did like to layer CC, that liked to play as a group, and this is an example of what they used to be like when they were able to find some victories, find that 4th place spot in Spring Split 2017.
Jin Air will look at this game and they'll be thinking about future matches. I think if you're going to be facing MVP and you're not just a team that can roll over them, some of the top teams are able to do that. You look at the effect of high presence junglers like the Kindred against MVP, because Kindred in 2 games in a row won the early game pretty handedly against MVP, who made some mistakes around the power of that early game jungle. I think that will be something that will inspire some of their future opposition, but to the winner of the spoils, congratulations MVP. They had to work hard, they got some assists from the enemy, and sadly for BBQ, so close, but they couldn't do it.
Yep. Get rid of that pesky Kindred and then things are okay, but let's throw it over for the final time to the MVP interview, so take it away, Joel.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel with your last interview translation of the night, and BBQ so close for getting that #1 victory, but they couldn't get it done as this team, MVP, just gets them off once again. Another win with the fans cheering them on. Ian, how'd you feel about that last game? Well, we were on a 4-loss streak in the second round robin, getting off with a win. It's a good vibe that we want to just kind of continue upon, and I'm hoping we can just continue on with it. Well, right now, you guys are undefeated in the second round robin. 0 losses. Beyond, we have something for you right here. And lots of teams are having a difficult time against you. How do you feel about that? I think it's a really difficult season for me personally. Every team has really just increased in the skill level, and the meta has really had a hard time on me, and it just feels like a difficult season for us all throughout the season. And two of you guys had very good games overall today, but there were definitely obstacles that you guys had to overcome in multiple instances throughout that series. And you were talking about how the clip was difficult, and how was that the second game and you guys didn't lose out? I mean, during the practice we did pretty well, and we thought that today's game should have been a lot easier than it actually was. But you know, it is actual matches that matters, but had a tough time with that. We saw the Nocturne opening up, and of course Taliyah was opened up as well, and you got a lot of strong picks today, Yondu, because it's all about you trying to do well with those champions. I just didn't know why they opened up those champions for me, and you know, since it was open, I had to come get it. But I had to think about what the opponents were thinking in trying to counter the strong picks that they gave up for me. Well, you did get the victories with them, which is what all mattered in the end. And let's look at some of how the players had done throughout that one. Starting from Ian here, with the taunt coming in from the Galio. I actually just saw just the Galio having a tough time right before all this happened, and I mean, you gotta pull off plays like this if you're playing the Galio in. And we knew that as soon as we got the shot call to go in on that one, and everybody else went in, was there anything to take? And you know, there was a lot of champions that were in the air that had to go for it. Yeah, I was kind of surprised as well when I saw that Brush, definitely. And of course, did you tell Yondu obviously to close the lights and to come in for the ultimate there? Of course, rushing in to get that kill was the most crucial part, but definitely wasn't easy for you guys. And did you feel like, of course, Max probably told you the shot call that no one was going to be there in the area? It feels like everybody's doing their part to know the whereabouts of our enemies. And something that's personally a question of mine is that, what is the coaching staff in terms of the feedback? What do they give you after those games? Feels like the mentality was an important asset here. I mean, we kind of made the mistakes a little bit too visible, so just limiting the mistakes was kind of the feedback for most of our coaching staff. And with the Taliyah, you did something that was almost mistake-free, doing so well. With the just kind of something that's beyond the Nocturne is that, you know, your Taliyah was looking a lot better, and this was so clean how the gank all went through. Literally just a 1-2 punch, knowing exactly what each player had to do. I mean, Yondu definitely made that. I definitely did make that call to go in for that gank there. And everybody just agreed to it because we all knew that we were in the right area to go for that gank right away. I mean, Yondu took the blue, and you guys went in front away. And it definitely was planned. Yes, it was. Just really a wonderful, clean dive play. And Taliyah just doing so well with something that wasn't a jungle champion, to be honest, but you know, doing so well with that champion tonight. That's been very, could have been difficult for you, obviously. It's really a different champion that you had to play with today. I mean, I had a first time where I had a tough time and I died out with it, so I was kind of surprised how it all died out so suddenly. But when I was trying to go with the Zhonya's as my first item, and I tried to just focus on the stability, to focus on the safety, to make sure I stay alive. And regardless of that, and we saw the big team fight that was lost for you guys near the end of the game, which could have been crucial for you guys. Well, after that, we didn't think we were actually going to lose. And this was just a mistake on our part, and I feel like, you know, if we won the next team fight, we still would have won, so we weren't too scared after this loss here. And of course, you guys, even though you guys lost a lot of resources there just off that one team fight, feels like you guys still had the confidence that you would still win that game in the end. And really just waiting for that talent in the end, just trying to see where that talent would come in and then reacting to that was seemingly the strategy for you guys. I mean, we were just trying to have the two tanks in the front, just trying to pull off all the aggro, and while the other three were focused on putting on the damage. Of course, a long consecutive loss streak that you guys had, guys, would have been emotionally tough for the team. But today was really important because you guys are now chasing back to the ranking, trying to climb back up as much as you can. I'm sure that pressure was definitely there. And do you feel like the confidence is back onto you guys now? Now, after the second set loss, I felt a little bit worried that the loss of the fixtures that are left available is going to be important for us. So we're going to try to have to win the games that we have to win. So trying not to go to relegation is obviously the big thing, but trying to go to postseason is going to be the most important. So we have to keep our lives on the line just to make sure we win as many games as we can. And just a really great stuff coming in from Ian and also the rest of MVP as the fans are continuously cheering you guys on. Anything you want to say to them, fans? Just words of appreciation. Thank you. 감사합니다 is what he said. You guys know that one. I mean, the MVP fans are always passionate as ever. Of course, Yondu, I'm sure the teammates deserve words of appreciation as well. You want to say anything to them? You guys did very well today, and we want to just achieve for something that we all want as a team, and hopefully we can work harder to make sure we put the effort in to achieve the goals that we have set for. And basically, it's MVP now on a second round robin win, an undefeated streak that they have going for MVP. Let's see if they can continue this on for the next game. We're going to find out in a later time, but sending it back to you guys for the rest of the broadcast.
Thank you very much, Joel. It has been a very long night, but MVP, a deserved victory in the end. The final game, we were questioning why. We were wondering whether the Talia was going to be picked up. It was, and it was masterfully controlled by Yon.
And I have a bone to pick with BitDoll and the interviewers. They're not even on a game-winning streak, let alone a match-winning streak. They've done nothing consecutively.
Yeah, that's true. That's a little bit confusing.
Learn the terms, please, interviewers, as MVP have learned that they have jumped ahead of SK Telecom T1. What a lovely spot to be in any other season. If you just tell your friends, hey, yeah, I'm a Korean pro player. We're between KT and SKT. We're feeling pretty good. You're like, whoa, you guys second or third? Nope, they're second.
Well, looking up the rest of the rankings, Papa, I swear to God, the top 6 teams feel like they are all contenders for that final position. It's getting real scary. It's only really Griffin that have put themselves ahead of the rest of the competition, as we're going to have a look at what's happening tomorrow night. KT versus a FLICKR Freaks, a huge one. Hanwha versus Genji as well. We got a huge top-of-the-table clash. And then on Tuesday, the FLICKR Freaks versus Griffin is a massive one, as well as MVP versus SKT. Over at the Gangnam Stadium, things are really heating up for you guys.
And then Super Wednesday is back, but it's not the long one. This is the good matches. Genji versus Kingzone. That is your LCK double champions versus world champions Genji.
Yeah.
Versus BBQ happens again. That's another time where BBQ will be so desperate for that first win. And yeah, there's this Telecom War thing, I guess.
Telecom War is a little bit overshadowed by Hanwha versus Griffin,
sure,
which sounds like a pretty epic rematch. Remember, this was one of our first games of the season, and Hanwha had them dead to rights in game 2, but didn't manage to do it. And then Griffin versus KT, SKT versus Hanwha. Our Saturday is looking golden as well.
It's popping off.
Everything's looking real good, Papa. The second round robin, everything's spicy because everything was so hard to predict in our first round robin, apart from Jin Air and BBQ losing.
And now that Jin Air is winning and SKT's been up and down, there's really only BBQ for teams that you pencil on the auto victory. Can Jin Air do some more giant killing, get themselves out of 9th spot, move up to 8th spot? Could SKT still be in relegations? I don't think anyone's saying that seriously, but it's such a weird season where 8 and maybe now 9 teams can be competitive. Where it's going, we're going to find out.
We'll have to figure out what's going to happen afterwards, but for us tonight, it's been a very long one, so we're going to get some sleep, and Papa is going to get back to do it all again tomorrow. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you then. It's going to be over at the Gangnam Stadium this time around, so OGN says good night until next week.